All right, and welcome back to the Royal Vision podcast. As always, I'm your host, Alex Taylor, and today we have another amazing athlete, this time hailing from our men's golf team. He's a junior. He's from Binghamton, New York. He attended Seton Central Catholic, and it's actually a very special interview, too, because he's one of our team captains this year. He helped the Royals pave the way in the NCAA tournament that was held in Kentucky, specifically Lexington, and it was on an official PBA course, absolutely insane. And our whole entire golf team won the landmark conference team championship in April of 2023. Today we have Liam Burtis.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show, man. So kind of like getting into it, just like golfing in general, how did you get into the sport as a whole?
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate to have two grandfathers who had a big love for the game. So it was one of those things I don't really remember even starting because I just grew up, always had a club in my hand, and whenever I'd go hang out with my grandpa in Florida or in Binghamton, I would always be wanting to play golf with them. So I don't have a particular memory of starting, but I guess it's kind of fortunate because golf is so hard sometimes, and it's nice to kind of get all the bad swings out of the way as early as you kind of can.
It's definitely like a big family connection, you'd say.
Totally. So some of my fondest memories growing up were going to play golf at Afton Golf Course in Afton, New York with my grandma, grandpa, and my brother Brendan. And I remember grandma would pack a sandwich and we'd go out and play 18, and I would get pissed off because my brother would always beat me. And, those are good times. And that's kind of what got me into the game, and then just the competitive aspect is what kind of keeps me here.
So did you play in high school?
I did. I played all 4 years. Was fortunate enough to play on a pretty good team with some other pretty good players, and we had a lot of success. And I definitely noticed I improved a lot over this year in terms of high school. But there's also a big kind of individual aspect to high school golf too, where you play over the summers. You play in individual tournaments on your own, and those were a lot of fun too. I would always get to play with my buddies wherever it was, just race around New York and play as many golf courses as I possibly could when I was like a junior and a senior.
So what do you think pushed you to the next level? Some people have a big choice when they're switching from high school to college, right? And especially because, you've had this team for this 4 years. You've been growing up with this team, growing with these guys, getting acquainted. And now you come up with a really big choice, whether you want to continue this journey as an individual. Like you said, golf is a very, individual sport when it comes down to the meat of it. And, what do you think carried your decision to keep going with golf in college?
I think college golf is such a special opportunity because your sport is a lot of people's favorite leisure activity. So you get to play a lot of awesome golf courses throughout college and get to hang out with some of your best friends while doing it too. And it's kind of just a way to get that kind of competitive fix too as well. I kind of weighed all those factors when I was deciding to come here and figured it was the best for me. And we have an awesome golf course, and we get to play a lot of great courses, and we have a great coach. And I just remember the first time I came here, I knew it was for me. There was no other option besides here.
You kind of going off of that. You were talking about our home course, and that's the Glenmar National Golf Club course. Being able to have such a beautiful course just to practice on. What kind of emotions come with being able to have such a nice privilege and being able to practice on a course like that?
Yeah, I think you said it. Just the idea of it being a privilege because it is a spectacular course. It's always beautifully maintained, and when you get out there in the fall and all the foliage is turning, it's a unbelievable experience. And we are so fortunate to be able to play there as pretty much as often as we want. The guys who work up there are super accommodating to our schedule, and they really do want the best for us, even though we're not a member. And it's a very special experience.
How often would you say you guys practice a week?
I think when we're really into the season, we're practicing every day. We're not at an event, except for maybe on the weekends a little bit. But we get out there at least for an hour or two, whether you're playing or you're putting or you're hitting balls. It's really important, just the consistency of golf too. There's no substitute for consistency, simply enough. And I think just getting out there every day is super important, and we do place an emphasis on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were kind of already getting into it. Golf is such a unique sport just for, like you said, the consistency. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges getting into the sport?
Ooh, obviously there's a big money barrier too, because there's clubs, there's bags, there's shoes, there's memberships. So money barrier is the first and foremost, especially when you're getting into it kind of on your own dollar too, when you're older. But I think, and for a lot of people too who are learning the game, it's so tough to be like a brand new beginner at something. It's frustrating, and it's frustrating for me too. But the aspect of being a beginner is so kind of different to people, and people tend to stray away from things that they're not good at, and it's just about your willingness to kind of push through that just like novice stage and just working through it and getting better. But there's something to really be said for the process.
You always got to trust the process, and as a team, I feel like you guys are definitely doing that. As we mentioned in the intro, Landmark Conference Team Championship in April 2023. Tell me all you remember from this Landmark Conference team. I mean, that's not a small feat.
Yeah, no, I got 2 words for you: Danny Harding.
Let's hear about him.
Yeah, he played really, really well. He was our star guy, but I mean, it really was. It was just an unbelievable team performance. So it was 2 days raining all day, both days in State College, Pennsylvania. So we get there. Course was like nothing crazy, but we get there. It's raining, and we just knew it was going to play tough. And the thing is, like, you kind of got to believe in your own mind that when a course plays tough, it's to your advantage as opposed to everyone else. Like, for no reason at all, but it's just you got to believe that you have something to gain from the course playing tougher than that the other teams don't have. And we went in with that mentality, like, just like there's no one better than us. There's no one who can play better in these conditions than us too. And we played well. We were 2 strokes back after the first day behind Drew, and that's kind of a great position to be in, especially in golf too, because it's so hard to close out a tournament when you're in the lead. That 2 strokes back, you're the one chasing. Like, there's no pressure on you to maintain a lead. So we went out there the second day, and we just made a lot of pars and put in some good scores, especially on the back 9 too. That's when Drew kind of faltered off, started making some bogeys, and we just kept throwing pars on the scorecard, par after par after par, all 5 of us too. And then it got down to the 18th hole. This is one of my favorite stories, and probably one of my favorite memories on a golf course. But Danny Harding was in the last group with a kid from Drew named Elliot Parker, both exceptional players. And Dan had a great drive down the center, probably had about 150 in, put it to maybe 30 feet, I want to say. And Coach doesn't really read very many putts, so he'll come onto the green and kind of like look at it, tell you like where you should probably aim so the putt can go in. And Coach gets out there, gives him a read, and we have 2 strokes to spare. So he basically, all he had to do was make it in 2, and we'd win the tournament. And we were all sitting around watching around the green, and he rolls the putt, and he makes it. There was almost never a doubt. From 30 feet, picks up our Coach Ed Karpovich, off the ground. I've never seen anything like it, and we're all going nuts. As I honestly blacked out the moment he made the putt, but it was such a special moment. He just drilled it from 30 feet, picked up Coach, and that was that. It was awesome, and everyone and we don't have a video of it too, which bugs me, but it's such a special moment, and I'll never ever forget it.
Sounds absolutely electric. I mean, you completely just blew one of
my
my questions.
He shot 70 too. He shot 70, which is like a 2 under, really, really good score. Like, I mean, unbelievable.
The way you just described it, I mean, I was going to ask you a question to be like,
chills,
what are you going to say to people that come out to these games? And I feel like if you're not hyped up by that story, I don't know, maybe you're not going to the right school to get in the team spirit.
I know.
You already kind of like alluded to it. Let me hear about this Coach. I mean, you kind of mentioned before he has maybe a bit of a status here on campus. So I'd love to hear about him. Yeah,
he's a little celebrity on campus. His name's Ed Karpovich, and he is one of the best golfers to ever come out of this area ever. And like, boy, does he have a lot of stories. I don't even know where to begin. So I guess I'll start off. He didn't grow up with any really means to play golf, but got his first set and was just an exceptional player. He got an offer to go play at Penn State, but he didn't get a scholarship there, so he came to Scranton, full scholarship, golfed, and he was one of the best players to ever come out of the school. He's in the Scranton Hall of Fame, and he's won 17 Lackawanna County AMs, so he's the real deal. And it's so cool being able to like learn from him in terms of golf, and then he's also just the nicest person you'll ever meet. The thing I always say is he's everyone's best friend. He can have an equally riveting conversation with myself, my dad, my grandfather, or my grandma. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, he's your best friend, and I just can't speak highly enough about him. There's so many things, and he's our best friend too. He's half coach, half friend, which is really cool.
So him being in this position, right? He's obviously a huge part of your team dynamic, and feeding right into that. Golf being such an individual sport, how important is the team to you specifically while you're competing?
Absolutely. I think that's so golf is obviously very individual, but in college it's a 5-man team, and you play your own ball. Your teammates have no effect on your score in theory, but the thing I always go back to is like the great teams in golf are the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So there's some sort of thing going on with the team, with the group of 5 guys that is so special, and you can't really like quantify it, but it's just when you're willing to play for the other 4 guys on the team, something special happens, because there's playing for yourself and then there's playing for others, and you gotta, especially on like these really good teams, you are so confident in the other 4 guys that there's almost no pressure on yourself, which is a really, really cool experience, because you're not worried, and that's when you play your best golf too, when you're not stressing. And it's just like it's this compounding effect of you want to play your best, because like we're golfers at the end of the day, like we want to win. That's the only reason we're out here. But when you're so confident in your 4 friends, I guess you call them, or teammates, something special happens, and it culminates in a landmark conference championship, which is really cool. And that's what we're always looking for.
I mean, you guys did it, and going right off of that earned you a spot in the NCAA tournament, which was held in Kentucky, which is absolutely insane. Yeah. I mean, coming from Scranton, our little rural area, right into that. I mean, tell me about that whole experience. Like, what do you remember from that?
Tons of fun. It was a 10-hour roadie from Scranton to Kentucky with Coach driving the bus and Ethan sitting up front and Matt sitting up front, and then me, Dan, and Jack just chilling in the back for 10 hours doing nothing in particular. It was so fun though, because I mean you get to spend 5 days there, because you do you get there on, I guess it was Tuesday, and then you have practice round Wednesday, practice round Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and Monday maybe I'm a day early or whatever, but it's a super kind of long experience, but super fun, because we get to play a course. It was called Keene Trace Golf Course in Nicholasville, Kentucky, and it was a tough track, and we got paired up with some other teams from Pennsylvania too, because they just group you by kind of region, and we didn't play our best golf, but I mean it was just such a cool experience, because it was our first time being there, I think, ever, if not maybe the second. I know, funny enough, Ed Karpovich went there as an individual. So wow. Yeah, I think it was his second time, but the programs, or his second time there, once as a coach, once as a player. But for us, it was obviously our first, and super cool.
No, absolutely, and it sounds fantastic. And like you were telling me, that's actually an official PBA course.
Yeah. So they played the Barbasol Championship there. It's a PGA Tour event, and it was so cool, because it was a month after our tournament. And it was really fun to be able to watch how those guys play the same course that we played a month earlier, and they obviously played a little bit better than us, but it was still really cool. And I mean, they make that course look like a municipal golf course, which is just like, it's unbelievable. Those guys are so good, and they make us look like a bunch of clowns, but wow. Still really cool.
And how are going into these tournaments, like what's the mindset you need compared to just, your average game during the season? Mm-hmm.
You mean for like the national championship and like landmarks?
Yeah, it could be like, you guys got so far. Just any of these like big moment tournaments, like these make or breaks. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the mindset you need to go in?
Oh, that's a good question. I think like the idea is that it never really changes, like your mindset, because you wanna have the controllables be controlled, and one of the things you can control is your mindset and kind of your overall feelings coming into a tournament, and you want to kind of dial them back a little bit, because you play your best golf when you're relaxed, and these are high pressure situations, and the guys who win them, like Dan, his ability to kind of like control that and almost block it out a little bit is special, and it's so important to be able to both kind of like recognize the importance of the event, but also be able to kind of dial it back a little bit in your own mind too, because that's when you tend to get your best results, where you kind of walk that fine line of pressure and just relaxation.
Absolutely, and you have a special view on everything because you're actually one of the team captains this year, right?
Yeah.
So what does that entail exactly?
So I guess that's a good question, because being a team captain for like a golf team is such a kind of unique role, because like I'm not going to be out there after 9 holes rallying everyone up and getting everyone fired up to go do something, but it does take on a lot of different roles, and within that, just like between teammate to teammate, you take on so many different roles because each person is different, and it's on you to kind of recognize what every person needs and how you can get the most out of them. And then other funny kind of little roles I have is like when we're in the van, we got to figure out places to eat, and our coach doesn't have a smartphone, so I'm in charge of finding restaurants, calling restaurants, and figuring that whole thing out. If we get lost too, which doesn't happen very often, fortunately, but it is kind of cool because you take on so many roles, and you are kind of in a way like a coach too. I schedule the lifts we have, and whenever we're trying to get a bunch of guys down to the sim, I gotta text whoever and get them all down there. So it's fun. It's a really rewarding experience because you kind of feel like you have some part in the whole team's success, but also you got to focus on yourself a little bit too and find time to, go down to the sim and work, or go out to the putting green and just putt. But yeah, a lot of different roles, and I really enjoy it too, and it's good working with my boy Dan too. So he helps me out with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you're having a lot of fun, and on the side you're making a little bit of history too. What would you tell someone who wants to maybe like step up into the role that you're in right now? Say they're walking into maybe our university, maybe our community for the first time. What would you say to them? Because they want to achieve great things, just like yourself. What do you think you'd say to them?
Yeah, that's God. You're just loading me up on good
I'm
questions.
loading them up in the question. Yeah, I'll make you think here.
Yeah, I guess the thing I always go back to is kind of the idea of like patience versus wanting it now too, because it's so important to like be patient and let the results kind of come when they come, but you gotta chase them too. There's something to be said for wanting results now, because that's when you get the results you want, is when you're willing to work for them as hard as you can right now, because you want them right now. And with that too is just like for my role too, you're always looking ahead too, so it's sometimes tough to get back to the present too. So you do want to just be able to be present when it's important to be present. But yeah, so definitely you gotta want it now, but also be willing to kind of let things happen when they're supposed to happen. There's no need to rush things, but you also gotta work for them too. It's a weird fine line, but I think it's important to just be able to know when you got to push and when you got to just relax a little bit.
Then, definitely a beautiful answer. And, you focused a lot on balance, and kind of going off of that, you're a student athlete, which is a huge part of the college experience. If you want to play a sport, they always call you your student athletes, your student first. Maybe a little bit of easier question. What's your major?
I'm a finance major.
Okay, so, being
Shout
a
out
finance
K-Som.
major, got good old K-Som, gotta love it. One of our 3 big schools here. How do you find the time to balance the thing that you love, being golf, and, just find the time just to be a good student overall?
Yeah, it's nice. So when we really get into season, once the golf courts open, because it is February right now, so not a lot of golf courses are open, but when you get into season, when the courses are open, you kind of find a nice rhythm in terms of your own scheduling, where like for a lot of guys, you wake up, you go to class, then you go eat lunch, and then you get out to the course from maybe say like 1 to 4 or 5, and then you come back, eat dinner, and then you have the rest of the day to kind of do whatever work you really need to get done. So it is nice because like a lot of other teams here, you may have like late practices or like long days in terms of traveling from location to location for away games. We really don't have that, which is really nice. So there is definitely a ability to balance, but on the days we do miss, we really miss them. We miss days of class, so that is tough. It's tough to make up, and normally everyone's grades do tend to suffer just a little bit in the spring, but it's no big deal, and it's all what we're willing to do for the sport we love.
But hey, if I can put in a landmark conference championship into my little professor email, I think that would make it a lot easier as well.
Yeah, when you start winning, they start understanding more.
and that might just be what it takes.
Yeah.
Going into like big inspirations, right? But
Yeah.
maybe this could be any athlete. Like, what do you think is like your biggest inspiration or someone that you look up to when you're competing?
Tiger Woods, which is kind of a pretty straightforward answer because he's the GOAT. But the thing I always kind of think about when I think about him is his like ability to prepare for events. And preparation is so important in golf because you spend hours and hours and hours preparing for a tournament, which is only 4 hours long in 18 holes, and you may play hundreds of holes before the actual tournament. But Tiger Woods' ability to prepare for events was remarkable. And the thing that really kind of like resonates with me is he left nothing to chance in terms of his preparation. He would putt until his hands like bled essentially and sit on the range and work hard. But it's the preparation, and with that comes the confidence of knowing there's nothing that can go wrong because you've already gotten all the positive feedback you need from your own practice to be confident in your game. And while that's really not attainable for me because I'm just a Division III college golfer, it gives you something to work towards. And I'll never be able to spend 8 hours on a range every day for months at a time in sunny Jupiter Springs, Florida.
Right, yeah.
But it does give you something to kind of reach for, and you'll never attain it, but it gives you something to work towards.
So kind of wrapping up here, I ask every athlete this on the show just because it's always such a special question, and it really gives everyone something to think about. What's maybe a story that you can tell me that really sticks in your mind that helped maybe shape you as a person, as an athlete, and just carries you throughout your entire career here?
Yeah, so I already kind of spoiled it with the Danny Harding story. It's funny because it's my favorite moment on a golf course, and I wasn't even the one playing. But it was just such a special moment. But I guess for me, if I got to think of one that's like kind of good that actually pertains to myself. But the landmark story is my favorite. But I guess one I go back to is I qualified for the New York State Am this summer, and it was pouring rain for the entire back nine, and I finished the last 3 holes like putting through puddles, which I mean is not what you're looking for on a golf course. But it was 11 people trying to qualify for one spot, and it was pouring rain, and I was the last group to come in, and I like slapped my scorecard down on the table, and the guy was plugging in his results, and he looks at me and he goes, "All right, you're in, my man." And I was like, "What?" I was shocked because I'd tried for maybe 3 or 4 years beforehand and come so close, and just for one reason or another missed it. But this time to make it and just I was drenched, and I had an hour drive home. But I remember like just racing to my car and just being so excited that I finally kind of got over that personal hump of mine. It was kind of just one of those like golf affirming moments. It's just like, all right, I'll keep coming back for more and more because it's a feeling you chase, and you so rarely win in golf that when you do, it's so special, and it's a feeling that you just can't replicate, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Just going off of that, where can we like follow you guys? Do you have a golf Instagram going?
We do. Scranton Golf. It's run by me and a couple of my sophomore guys. So feel free to follow us there. That's really all we have in terms of social media, but you know, we play a bunch of events here locally. If you want to come out and support, our schedule is live on the website, but it's tough because I mean it's a 4-hour thing, and you know it's fun. It's a good walk. It's good exercise if anyone wants to come watch us. But you know it's tough. It is tough.
And hey, I mean it's tougher for you guys actually playing. So if Lee didn't convince you enough, I mean, come support these guys. They're going through it, but they're playing some of the best game they were playing in their careers, winning these titles. Would you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I guess fall wasn't really what we're looking for, but maybe sandbag the century, come back, get another good win, trying to chase 2 in a row, and hopefully we can get it. But you never know.
Hey.
We'll keep working on it.
Absolutely, and we'll follow you all the way through. So thank you so
Appreciate
much
it.
for being on the
Yeah,
show.
thanks for having me out.
Fantastic. So, like you said, go follow them on the golf Instagram. They're getting really riled up. They're getting up for a really big year. I know I'm going to be there. I'm going to see all these games. Liam obviously convinced me in this podcast. So, as always, I've been your host, Alex Taylor. This has been the Royal Vision podcast, and we will see you in the next one.